The medical bay of the celestial horizon hummed with the soft whir of alien technology, but the sound was drowned out by the desperate growls echoing from the containment cell. Elsa pressed her palm against the transparent barrier, watching the small creature pace back and forth, its 6 legs moving in an agitated rhythm that made her heart ache. "The Krevnath cub will die within 3 cycles if it doesn't take the antidote," Verk said from behind her, his voice carrying that peculiar mix of concern and resignation that she'd come to recognize in her Zenthari crewmate. His crystalline eyes reflected the blue emergency lights, making him look even more alien than usual. "The venom from its mother's attack is spreading through its system." Elsa turned to face him, her dark hair falling across her shoulders. "There has to be a way. It's just a baby." "It's a predator cub from one of the most dangerous species in the Outer Rim," Verk corrected, though his tone lacked conviction. "Its mother was part of the raiding party that attacked the colony on Zarian 7. When our patrol intercepted them, she injected her own young with paralytic venom rather than let it be captured alive. A final act of spite. Or mercy," Elsa whispered, remembering the intelligence briefings. The Krevnath were sold as exotic pets and gladiatorial fighters across the galaxy. Perhaps the mother thought death was preferable to that fate. The cub snarled again, throwing itself against the barrier. It was roughly the size of a large dog, covered in midnight black scales that shimmered with bioluminescent patterns when it moved. Its eyes, all 4 of them, glowed with an amber intensity that spoke of intelligence far beyond what most species credited it with. Dr. Zelian, the ship's Varesian medic, approached with the antidote suspended in a floating containment field. "We've tried everything. Sedation makes the venom work faster. Remote injection triggers its defensive reflexes. It nearly killed 2 technicians. And it refuses all food or liquid we offer." Elsa studied the violet liquid hovering in the field. "What's in it?" "Synthesized enzymes that neutralize the venom, combined with regenerative nanocells," Dr. Zelion explained, his 3-fingered hand gesturing at a holographic display. "Perfectly safe for Krevnath biology, but useless if we cannot administer it." "Is it safe for humans?" Elsa asked. The room fell silent. Verk's eyes widened, his neck frill extending in alarm, a Zenthari expression of shock. "Elsa, no. You cannot be considering, is it safe?" she repeated, her voice firm. Dr. Zelion's mandibles clicked together nervously. "Theoretically, yes. The enzymes would have no effect on human biology, since you don't have the venom in your system. The nanocells might cause mild nausea, but nothing dangerous. However, I fail to see how this helps the cub." Elsa held out her hand. "Give it to me." "Human stubbornness," Verk muttered, but there was something else in his voice. Respect, perhaps, or the beginning of understanding. "You think it will trust you if you consume it first?" "Predators learn by watching," Elsa said, remembering the wildlife documentaries she'd obsessed over as a child on Earth. "Especially young ones. They learn what's safe to eat by watching their pack. I'm betting Krevnath aren't that different." Dr. Zelion handed her a small vial of the antidote, having extracted it from the containment field. "This is highly irregular." Elsa entered the containment cell and the cub immediately backed into the corner, its body low, ready to pounce. Up close, she could see how it trembled, not from aggression but from pain. The venom was ravaging its small body. She sat down on the floor, cross-legged, making herself as non-threatening as possible. The cub watched her with those 4 burning eyes, a low rumble emanating from its chest. "Hey there, little one," Elsa said softly. "I know you're scared. I know everything hurts." She held up the vial so the cub could see it clearly, then made an exaggerated show of examining it, sniffing it, exactly as she'd seen wolves do with unfamiliar food. The cub's ears, delicate, almost translucent membranes, flicked forward with interest. Then, maintaining eye contact, Elsa tilted her head back and drank the entire vial. The taste was horrible, bitter and metallic, and her stomach immediately protested. But she forced herself to swallow, to lick her lips, to smile as if she'd just consumed the finest wine in the galaxy. Outside the cell, Verk had moved closer to the barrier, his hand hovering over the emergency release. Dr. Zelion was frantically scanning her vitals on his datapad. The cub watched. Its trembling had stopped. Those 4 eyes tracked every movement as Elsa set down the empty vial and simply sat there, breathing normally, showing no signs of distress. Slowly, deliberately, Elsa poured a second vial, the one meant for the cub, into a small dish and slid it across the floor. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then with hesitant steps, the cub approached. It sniffed the liquid, glanced at Elsa, then back at the dish. Its scaled head tilted in a gesture that seemed almost curious. The cub's tongue, black and forked, darted out to taste the antidote. Then it began to drink. Elsa remained perfectly still, her heart pounding in her chest, fighting back the nausea from the nanocells churning in her stomach. The cub finished the antidote and sat back, its bioluminescent patterns beginning to pulse with a healthier rhythm. Incredible, Dr. Zelian breathed through the comm system. The venom is already neutralizing. Vital signs are stabilizing. The cub looked at Elsa again, and this time something had changed in those amber eyes. It took a tentative step toward her, then another. Before she could react, it had pressed its scaled head against her leg, a sound emerging from its throat that wasn't quite a purr, but wasn't aggressive either. Verk entered the cell cautiously. "I have studied 17 different species over my career," he said quietly. His frill relaxed now in an expression of wonder. "But I have never seen anything like this. The pack-bonding instinct of humans. It's not just a rumor, is it?" Elsa gently stroked the cub's head, feeling the warmth of its scales beneath her fingers. "We're social creatures. We survived on a death world by working together, by trusting each other, by sometimes doing crazy things to show we're part of the same pack." "Your species drinks poison to earn a predator's trust," Verk observed. "The galaxy thinks humans are reckless, but perhaps you're simply willing to take risks that others cannot fathom." The cub curled up beside Elsa, its breathing evening out as the antidote worked through its system. "What will happen to it?" Elsa asked. Verk was quiet for a moment. "Protocol says it should be transferred to a xenobiological research facility. But," he looked at Elsa, then at the cub now sleeping peacefully against her side, "I suspect the captain might be persuaded that this ship needs an official mascot, especially one bonded to a crew member." Elsa smiled, ignoring the persistent nausea in her stomach. Outside the cell, the rest of the crew had gathered, watching in silent amazement. A human had just done what should have been impossible, bridging a gap between species through nothing but empathy and a reckless trust. In the vastness of space among thousands of alien civilizations, humanity had earned its reputation not through superior weapons or technology, but through moments like this. Moments when a human looked at suffering and simply refused to accept it. The predator cub slept on, unaware that it had just become the latest being in the galaxy to learn a fundamental truth. Humans, for better or worse, would pack bond with anything.